Okay, tell me what you were saying.
It like doesn't like follow the pattern. Like there could be like a group over here and then it's like over there.
So an observation that lies out. Notice outlier starts with the word out, outside the overall pattern of a distribution. So if you put data in order, which is what we're going to do for today because we are going to be finding the middle, outside would mean a really low value or a really, really high value. Okay, so let's look at the depth. The depth is in the second column here. They're not put in order. Okay. What would you consider to be the outlier here for the depth? It's a really low one. I would say Lake Erie. It's a very low value of 210. How do you spell Erie? Erie. I mean, because if we're looking then, 758, I mean, those are 50 apart. That's 100 apart. You might even be able to make an argument for Superior being large, but even these two, 900 to this, those are 400 apart. 210 to the lowest is over 500 away from 750. So that would be our outlier. Okay. Mean. To find the mean is another name for the average. And so to find the mean, what you are going to do is you are going to find the sum of all the values. The sum of all the values, and then divided by the number of values. By number of values, I mean how many are there. So for either of the things that we would find the mean of, how many Great Lakes are listed up there? 5. So we're going to be dividing by 5. Now when you're doing this, even if you use your calculator, I'd like you to show your setup. So find the mean of the depth. The depth is right here. So we would add up, sum is adding 750 plus 802 plus 923 plus 210 plus 1333, and then we're going to divide that by 5. Okay. So I'm going to do that by finding the top first. Here's why, because if you just type these in and divide by 5, then it's going to only divide your last thing by 5. Okay. I'm trying to not get a glare here. Okay, would somebody confirm that you get the same thing I do on top with your calculator?
I can't even see that.
Can you see it now?
I got 2951.6.
Okay, wait, did you do just the top? What'd you get for just the top?
Just the top. Wait, what?
I'm just doing the top, the whole top first, because if you just hit, you know what I'm saying? Because I have to find the whole sum first before I divide by 5. Just give me a thumbs up if you get the same thing I do on the top of that fraction. Thanks. All right. So I get 4018, and then I divide that answer by 5. And then 803.6 feet. Okay, next. What if I took out the outlier? What did I say the outlier was? 210.
There's nothing.
It's okay. So if I took out that, how many lakes would I be dealing with? 4. Okay. Let's just take our 4,018 and let's just take off the outlier, which was 210. That's going to save us some work, right? So this would be 750 plus 802 plus 923. I dropped the 210. I get 3808 when I do that. But now I don't divide by 5, I divide by 4. $952 feet. Okay, let's look back up here to the top. When the outlier was in the data, what did it do to it? It moved the average down, okay? So I'm going to talk about how that's what an outlier will do. It will move the average around because you're adding it into the data. If there's no outliers, then the mean is a good way of measuring the center. If there are outliers, a mean or average is not really a good way because the outlier affects it in a big way. All right, median. Median is just going to be the middle score or the middle data. So the very first thing you're going to need to do is order the data from smallest to largest. Once you do that, if there is one middle value, this is the median. But sometimes there are 2 middle values. If there are 2 middle values, you're going to add them together and divide by 2. You're going to find the average of them. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our smallest to largest. What's the smallest depth that you see then? 210. So here's my smallest. I'm putting them in order right now. What's the next one you see on the list? 750. 802. 923. Okay, now there are 5 numbers. That means there is going to be one middle. So I kind of put my pen and my finger here and start working inward. So you can, even if some people like to use like a pencil and cross off. So I cross off those. The middle value is 802 feet. Okay, what if we took the outlier out? Then our smallest would be 750, 802, 923, 1333. So let's rewrite them. Do you see then how there are 2 middle values? So we would have to find halfway between them, and you do that by adding them together and dividing by 2. All right, so I'm going to add 802 and 923. I got 1725. Can you confirm? Give me a thumbs up if you got the same thing. Okay, thank you. And then I divide that whole answer by 2. I get 862.5 feet. Okay. Have you heard some of this before? Good. Okay, I'm going to be honest for mode. Mode is most frequently occurring data, means it happens the most, or a lot of times we don't do it with a numerical set. We would use it like if I was doing a survey of all the colors of the cars in the parking lot, that wouldn't involve numbers, right? And let's say I said, okay, I took all the teachers and I counted how many had each color car and I wanted to find the most popular car, I'd use the mode, the one with the most occurring. So a lot of times we use the mode with things that don't involve numbers, but they're categories. It's possible to have one mode if it's the most occurring, but it's also possible to kind of have a tie. So it's possible to have two modes. It's also possible to have no mode. I guess it's possible to have more than two modes too. I mean, if there was more than one tie. Okay, flipping back on the page before, would you look at area instead? Let's look at area instead. What's the mode of the area in square feet? Is there one that's most occurring? No. This would be an example of a data set that has no mode. Okay, to summarize, when there are no outliers, the mean is the better measure of center. If there are outliers in one direction, the mean is pulled in the direction of the outlier. And so typically I tell students if there's an outlier that probably the median is a better way of measuring the middle. So all that means is if an outlier is low, that brings the mean down. So it brings the mean down, that's a down arrow. If an outlier is high, it's going to bring it up. Okay. I don't know if I need to. Do you feel like you guys got it? Do we need to do this top example? I would like to talk about these multiple choice ones, but I think the top example, we know how to do that now that we did that example together. Okay, let's take a look at these two multiple choice at the bottom. The average or mean of 6, 19, and x is 19. What's the value of x? How do you do something when you know, why is it so blurry? How do you do something when you know what the average is but you don't know what the value is? This is how you do this. We have 6 plus 19 and we don't know this other number, okay? Look, x. How many numbers are there? 3. So we're going to divide by 3. That equals 19. That's what it says here. The mean of 6 and 19 and x is 19. So how would I solve that equation? What would I do first? Get rid of that 3. It's divided by 3. How would I get rid of it? Multiply both sides by 3. Can somebody tell me what 3 times 19 is?
57.
Okay. So on this side I'd have 57. On this side, the 3 on top and bottom cancel. Now I can add the 6 plus 19 together. I have 25 plus x equals 57. How do I solve that? It's x plus 25. Subtract. 32. Okay. There's 3 numbers. To find the average, we take the numbers and divide by how many there are. Okay. This is not a calculation one. This is just recognizing what we said at the top. A survey was taken of the value of homes in a county, and it was found that the mean home value was 165,000, and the median home value was 125,000. Which of the following situations could explain the difference between the mean and median home values in the county? Remember, I told you outliers move the mean around. So if the mean is above the median, keep that in mind. The homes have values that are close to each other. I don't know. There are a few homes that are valued much less than the rest. There are a few homes that are valued much more than the rest. That's the one I would pick, because those ones that are a little bit above the rest are pulling up that mean or average. The other ones I can't really tell from what's given to me.